Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Think About It podcast,
Right.
brought to you by Forward HR Consulting. I don't know about you, but it feels like everyone's talking about the massive changes happening in our careers and workplaces these days.
For sure. It's exciting, unsettling, and it can be tough to figure out, like, where to even start.
Exactly. It's like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces keep changing shape.
Yeah, you got it.
So to help us all make sense of this puzzle, today we're exploring the idea of career anchors, a concept developed by Edgar Schein. He's kind of a rock star in the world of organizational psychology.
Absolutely. Schein's work is so valuable because it helps us understand what truly motivates us in our careers.
So it's not just about the skills we have,
Yeah.
but what we actually want to be doing.
Exactly. Career anchors are like an internal compass that guides us, especially when we face big career decisions or those inevitable moments of transition.
Oh, I like that. An internal compass.
Yeah. They help us figure out, what we're willing to compromise on and what's absolutely non-negotiable for us.
Okay, so tell me more about this internal compass. What directions can it point us in?
Well, Schein identified 8 main career anchors. Think of these as different points on that compass. Some people are all about autonomy and independence. They crave freedom and control over their work. Others really prioritize security and stability, a predictable job with a steady paycheck.
I can definitely relate to that. Feeling that pull between wanting freedom and wanting that sense of security, it's a tough balance.
It really is. And then there are those who are driven by a deep passion for their craft. What Schein calls technical functional competence. They're the experts who live for mastering their skills and pushing the boundaries of what's possible in their field.
Oh, I know a few people like that. They're always tinkering, always learning something new, and they get so much satisfaction from being the best at what they do.
Absolutely. And let's not forget those who are drawn to general managerial competence. They're the natural-born leaders who thrive on guiding teams, taking charge, and seeing projects through to completion.
That makes me think of someone I used to work with. She just had this incredible ability to rally people around a common goal. She was a born leader, for sure.
Exactly. And then you have those with entrepreneurial creativity, those who are driven to create new ventures, build something from scratch, and take risks.
The risk takers.
Yeah.
The ones who aren't afraid to jump into the unknown and make things happen. I admire that kind of courage.
Then there are those who are deeply motivated by service or dedication to a cause. They want their work to make a positive impact on the world and contribute to something larger than themselves.
I think that's becoming more and more important to people these days. It's not just about a paycheck anymore. It's about finding meaning and purpose in our work.
I completely agree. And of course, let's not forget those who are fueled by pure challenge. These are the people who love tackling the seemingly impossible, overcoming obstacles, and constantly pushing their limits.
Oh, I know a few of those as well.
Uh,
Always chasing the next big challenge, always looking for ways to test themselves.
Right. They thrive on that adrenaline rush. And finally, we have those who prioritize lifestyle. They want a career that seamlessly integrates with their personal lives and supports their desired way of being.
That's so important. Finding that balance between work and life can be a real challenge, especially with all the demands we face these days. So we've got these 8 anchors, and I'm guessing most people can relate to at least 1 or 2 of them, right?
Absolutely. But what's really interesting is how these anchors are becoming even more relevant and potentially even shifting as our work environments change so rapidly.
That's what I find so fascinating at this whole topic. The old rules of the game, job security, climbing the corporate ladder. They just don't seem to apply the same way anymore. So how do our career anchors adapt in this new world of work?
That's the key question, right? Take security and stability, for example. That anchor is facing some serious challenges in a world where the traditional notion of job security is fading away.
It's true. The idea of staying with one company for your entire career is almost a thing of the past. So how do people who crave that stability adapt?
Well, Schein's research suggests that individuals who value security might need to redefine what that means for them. Instead of relying on external structures, they might need to cultivate a sense of security from within by developing a diverse skill set that makes them valuable in different contexts.
So instead of relying on a company to provide that stability, they need to build that stability for themselves through their skills and adaptability.
Exactly. Now contrast that with autonomy and independence. This anchor actually aligns really well with this evolving landscape. It's all about self-reliance and being able to chart your own course, which is becoming increasingly important in today's world.
That makes a lot of sense. If you're already comfortable forging your own path and taking ownership of your career, You're probably ahead of the curve in this environment.
Absolutely. And let's not forget about the lifestyle anchor. This is gaining even more prominence as dual career families become the norm and people prioritize work-life integration.
It's true. The idea of trying to fit your life into a rigid 9 to 5 box just isn't realistic for a lot of people anymore.
Right. And then there's technical and functional competence. While having those specialized skills is still crucial, the rapid pace of technological advancements means you have to be constantly learning and adapting to stay relevant.
It's like the skills you have today could be obsolete tomorrow, which can feel pretty overwhelming. So how do you stay ahead of the curve?
That's where the concept of lifelong learning comes in. It's about embracing continuous learning and being willing to evolve alongside those technological shifts. You can't just rest on your laurels anymore.
What about general managerial competence? Is that still relevant in this world of flatter hierarchies and self-managed teams?
That's a great question. It's actually becoming even more important, but in a slightly different way. The traditional top-down model of management is giving way to a more distributed model, where these skills are needed at all levels of an organization.
So it's less about being the boss
Yeah.
and more about being able to collaborate, coordinate, and make good decisions within a team context.
Yeah. Exactly. Leadership and management are becoming more about process skills than positional authority. It's about being able to influence, motivate, and guide others, regardless of your formal title.
What about those with that entrepreneurial spirit? Do they have an edge in this rapidly changing world?
Absolutely. The need for innovation and new solutions is only going to grow. So those who are comfortable taking risks, thinking outside the box, and building something from the ground up, they're going to be in high demand.
It really does seem like the future belongs to those who can embrace change and turn it into an opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. And speaking of opportunities, those driven by service or dedication to a cause are also finding their niche as awareness of social and global issues continues to grow.
It's like people are looking for more than just a job. They want their work to align with their values and make a real difference in the world.
Exactly. As these issues become more pressing, the need for creative solutions and people dedicated to solving them is only going to intensify.
And what about those driven by pure challenge? Does a constantly changing world just fuel their fire?
You bet. As the world becomes more complex, the opportunities and the need for those who thrive on tackling tough problems will continue to grow. They're the ones who will help us navigate the uncharted waters ahead.
So it seems like no matter what your career anchor is, this evolving landscape presents both challenges and opportunities. But as you said earlier, understanding your own anchor is the first step towards effectively navigating this new world.
That's the key. To understand how these anchors play out in real-world scenarios, let's take a look at some potential futures of work that MIT researchers have been exploring. These aren't necessarily predictions, but more like thought experiments to help us think about the possibilities.
I like that. Thought experiments. What kind of scenarios are they looking at?
One scenario envisions a world increasingly dominated by a few massive global organizations. These behemoths would offer a certain degree of career security, but potentially at the cost of flexibility and autonomy.
So it's like trading some freedom for stability.
Exactly. Another scenario imagines a very different landscape, a world of smaller, more agile organizations that are constantly changing and adapting. These companies could offer more autonomy and variety, but they would also require individuals to be more self-reliant and proactive in managing their careers.
So it's a trade-off. More freedom, but also more responsibility for your own success.
Precisely. And then, of course, there's the possibility of a hybrid model, where both large and small organizations coexist, each with their own unique advantages and drawbacks. Individuals would need to choose which environment best suits their needs and career anchors.
This is getting really interesting. It really highlights how important it is to understand yourself and what you truly value in a career. So how do different career anchors play out in these different scenarios? Let's take a closer look at that. After a quick word from our sponsor.
Okay, so let's imagine you know someone with that strong security and stability anchor. In a world dominated by those massive global organizations, they might actually feel like, okay, this is a pretty good fit. If they're willing to climb that corporate ladder and play by the rules, you know there might be a certain degree of stability there.
That makes sense. But wouldn't that environment be a bit stifling for those who crave autonomy and independence?
Yeah, for sure. Those individuals would likely thrive more in that landscape of smaller, agile organizations. You know, they would have the freedom to shape their roles, take on diverse projects, and really own their work. But they'd also need to be comfortable with a bit more risk and uncertainty.
So it's a trade-off, as you said before. What about those driven by technical or functional competence? Where would they fit in?
Yeah, both scenarios could offer opportunities, but in different ways. Those large organizations would likely need specialists to manage complex systems and processes, but those specialists might find themselves needing to constantly update their skills to stay relevant as technology continues to evolve. In the smaller, more nimble organizations, their expertise might be highly sought after, but they'd need to be adaptable and comfortable wearing multiple hats.
It seems like a lot depends on your individual tolerance for risk and your desire for stability versus flexibility.
Right.
What about those natural-born leaders?
Yeah.
The ones drawn to general management? Would they still have a place in these future scenarios?
Absolutely. In those large hierarchical organizations, those traditional management ladders might still exist, though maybe with fewer rungs. But as we discussed earlier, those management and leadership skills are becoming even more important at all levels. In a world of smaller, self-managed teams, those skills would be crucial for effective collaboration, decision-making, and navigating the complexities of a rapidly changing environment.
So no matter which scenario plays out, it seems like those leadership and management skills would be valuable. Now, what about the entrepreneurial types? Where would they find their place?
That's a great question. They might actually gravitate towards that world of smaller organizations where they have more freedom to experiment and innovate. Maybe they'd even start their own ventures. That environment would offer the agility and freedom they need to bring their ideas to life.
It seems like those who are comfortable with change and ambiguity would really thrive in that kind of setting. What about those driven by a sense of service or dedication to a cause? Where do they fit in?
Well, think about, all those pressing global challenges we're facing today. As awareness of these issues grows, there will be a surge in demand for organizations and individuals dedicated to tackling them, both large and small organizations. Could play a role here, but I think a lot of innovation and impact will come from those smaller mission-driven organizations that are able to move quickly and adapt to changing needs.
So there's a place for everyone, no matter what their career anchor might be. But as you said earlier, understanding your own anchor is key to making the right choices for yourself. Now, what about those who are all about pure challenge? Where do they fit into all of this?
The challenge seekers. A dynamic, constantly evolving world is their playground. They thrive in environments where they can push boundaries, tackle complex problems, and never stop learning. Both scenarios could offer those opportunities, but they might be drawn to those smaller, faster-paced organizations where change is constant and the challenges are never-ending.
And last but not least, what about those who prioritize lifestyle? How do they navigate this changing landscape?
That's an important question. They'd need to be selective and find organizations that truly support their values and priorities. That might mean seeking out companies with flexible work arrangements, remote work options, or a strong commitment to work-life balance. They might also prioritize roles that offer them the freedom and autonomy to integrate their work with their personal lives in a way that feels fulfilling.
It sounds like a lot of intentionality and self-awareness is needed to make those choices. So as we can see, these different scenarios present a range of possibilities. And how well you navigate those possibilities really comes down to understanding your own career anchor and how it aligns with the evolving world of work.
That's exactly right. To really thrive in this new world of work, we need to move beyond thinking about jobs as static, predefined roles. Schein actually talks about this in his work, the importance of what he calls job role planning.
Job role planning. That sounds intriguing. Tell me more about that.
In the past, we often thought of jobs as fixed entities with clearly defined roles and responsibilities, but that model is becoming less and less relevant. In today's rapidly changing world, jobs are becoming more dynamic, more fluid, more adaptable.
So how do you even plan for a job that's constantly evolving? It seems like the goalposts are always shifting.
That's where job role planning comes in. It's about moving away from those rigid job descriptions and embracing a more flexible and iterative approach. It's about constantly analyzing the work itself, understanding how it's changing, and adapting your skills and approach accordingly.
So it's less about trying to fit yourself into a predefined box and more about continuously shaping and reshaping your role based on the evolving needs of the organization and the changing nature of the work itself.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership of your career and being proactive in shaping your own destiny rather than passively waiting for someone to tell you what to do or how to do it.
This sounds crucial. especially given all the uncertainty and change we're facing. So what does this kind of job role planning actually look like in practice? What are the steps involved?
Well, it starts with a deep understanding of the work itself. Who are the key stakeholders involved? What are their expectations? How is the environment changing? And how will those changes impact the work that needs to be done? And then, based on that analysis, you can start to identify the skills, knowledge, and competencies you'll need to be successful in that evolving landscape.
So it's like a continuous process, assessment,
Adaptation, and learning, always evolving, always adjusting.
Precisely. And this is where the individual and the organization really need to work together. Individuals need to be proactive in identifying their strengths, weaknesses, and aspirations. And organizations need to create cultures that support continuous learning, provide opportunities for development, and empower individuals to take ownership of their careers.
It sounds like this shift towards job role planning has huge implications for both individuals and organizations. What kind of impact are we talking about? For individuals, it means being more self-reliant, more adaptable, and more proactive in managing their careers. It's about taking charge of your own development and being a lifelong learner. And for organizations, it means moving away from traditional hierarchical models of career development and embracing more flexible, agile, and employee-centric approaches. It's about empowering employees to grow, adapt, and contribute their unique talents in a way that benefits both the individual and the organization.
So in essence, it's about recognizing that the old rules of the game no longer apply and embracing a mindset of continuous learning, adaptation, and evolution.
Exactly. And if we can embrace this mindset, both as individuals and as organizations, we can not only navigate these changes successfully, but also thrive in this exciting dynamic.
A revolving world of work.
I love that perspective. It's not about fearing change, but about seeing it as an opportunity for growth and transformation. We've covered a lot of ground in this episode, from understanding our own career anchors to exploring potential futures of work and embracing the concept of job role planning. It's been incredibly insightful. It has been a fascinating conversation. And I think one of the key takeaways here is that in this rapidly changing world, the ability to learn, adapt, and evolve is perhaps the most valuable skill we can cultivate.
I couldn't agree more. It's not just about what we know today, but about our ability to learn and grow as the world changes around us. On that note, let's shift gears and wrap things up with some key takeaways and some final thoughts for our listeners.
Okay, so let's recap a bit. You know what we've learned today about career anchors? It seems like more important than ever in this constantly changing world of work.
Yeah, I think knowing your anchor can be such a powerful tool. It can help you, make sense of all the changes happening and navigate tricky decisions and ultimately find a path that truly aligns with your values and aspirations.
It's like having that internal compass we talked about to guide you through the fog, even when the landmarks keep changing.
Exactly.
And we also talked about how the future of work itself is evolving with those potential scenarios, ranging from those massive global organizations to those smaller, more agile companies. Right. And each of those scenarios presents those unique opportunities and challenges, depending on your individual anchor.
That's right. And we also discussed the importance of not just understanding your anchor, but also embracing adaptability, continuous learning, and proactively shaping your career through what Schein calls that job role planning.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that. Those old rules of the game, they just don't apply anymore. The future belongs to those who are willing to take ownership of their careers, embrace lifelong learning, and adapt to the ever-changing demands of the workplace.
So to wrap things up, we have a little challenge for you, our listeners. Take some time this week to reflect on what truly matters to you in your career. What are your non-negotiables? What gives you a sense of purpose and fulfillment?
What are those things you wouldn't give up, even if it meant, making some tough choices?
Those reflections can help you identify your own unique career anchor and navigate this evolving world of work with greater clarity and intention.
Remember, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to career anchors. What matters most is finding what resonates with you.
And once you have a better understanding of your anchor, you can start to make choices that align with your values, your strengths, and your aspirations. Regardless of what the future of work may hold, that might mean seeking out opportunities for growth and development, exploring different career paths, or even starting your own venture.
Remember, your career is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous growth, exploration, and evolution. And by understanding your career anchor, you can navigate that journey with confidence and purpose.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the Think About It podcast, brought to you by 4 Ward HR Consulting. We hope this conversation has sparked some new insights and inspired you to think differently about your own career path. If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to share it with your friends, colleagues, or anyone who might be navigating their own career journey.
And as always, we'd love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, questions, or insights about career anchors with us on social media or via our website. We're always eager to continue the conversation. Until next time, keep thinking, keep learning, and keep pushing forward on your own unique career journey.